Welcome everyone to the next video. In 1997, when Stargate debuted in America, even back then it was exploring such interesting storylines that, in my opinion, the average person, the average mortal, myself included, or anyone similar to me, did not really understand or fully grasp what the series was actually about. Then, of course, we jump forward a bit in time, and by 2001, when it debuted in Hungary, I was already about 9 years old. With Hungarian dubbing and at 9 years old, when I started watching Stargate, as a kid, I obviously didn't really understand what I was seeing, but I liked everything I saw. What did I see? People traveling to ancient civilizations, or rather, traveling to them through a Stargate, which of course at the time I couldn't put into words or explain to myself how it was possible or what it was based on, how this whole thing works. But honestly, the story, the atmosphere, and the visuals just pulled me in so much. It was incredible. Now let's jump ahead 24 years, and here we are in 2025, when by now, most people have realized that everything we saw back in 97 on TV actually had a basis in reality. And that basis is none other than Albert Einstein's and Nathan Rosen's Rosen bridge theory developed in 1935. But what is this exactly? Well, it's the wormhole theory. The essence of it is that this bridge connects two points in space-time that are far apart from each other, just like the Stargate does. Okay, so the problem with the theory itself is first of all that it's just a theory, and secondly, according to this theory, these wormholes are unstable. So in their natural form, they collapse immediately, would collapse before anything could pass through them, but this is where the series comes in, because according to the series, it doesn't collapse. So what happens, people can meet ancients, that is, ancient civilizations, they can travel through any point in space-time with the help of the Stargate. What? Okay, I know, now this might not sound like such a big deal, but honestly, when I was 9 years old, I obviously didn't understand any of this. I just saw the action itself and the fact that there was a gate where it lights up and people travel through it across different star systems. This was something incomprehensible, and I absolutely loved it. So I thought, what if I created all of this myself, obviously alone, as a sort of demo version, to show what the whole thing would look like in a game based on my knowledge? How I would create the base itself, the control room for the Stargate, and also how it would look in the game if, for example, we enter the Stargate, what it's like when we travel between the stars and arrive at a certain point where the level or the game itself takes us. It's very important to mention, this really is very important, that all of this could obviously be done much better. It's all a matter of a lot of money and time. What is also very important to mention, in addition, is that I worked on 99.9% of this alone. The only thing I got from someone else was the Stargate itself, which was created by an acquaintance of mine in Blender. By the way, this same Stargate, in similar quality, can also be purchased from Sketchfab, okay? I just thought I'd mention that. So, I'd like to show you how, in my vision, in 2025, a single person could create the base, the Stargate. All right, here we are. So let's see. So after our long journey through various landscapes and overcoming numerous obstacles along the way, we have at long last reached our intended destination. And here we are standing right at the spot we talked about. So let's take a look at how the whole thing looks that I put together. I'm telling you guys, this is really about 99.99% the work of one person. And it's very important to note that I didn't have the proper assets, so I assembled everything based on the images from the movie and similar references. So please keep that in mind. But this is a really good example of what it looks like have you ever stopped to wonder what a truly high-budget game could look like, specifically a potential Stargate game, if it were actually made by a much bigger world-class development studio and backed by a major international publisher? It is an exciting thought. So, let's take a closer look together. Right here on the screen, you can see the iconic Stargate itself rendered in this impressive form. I am intentionally not moving the camera on purpose right now so that you can fully appreciate every single detail of the ancient ring and the shimmering event horizon without any distractions, so that you are able to see every single detail as clearly as it is possible for us to show you. This is exactly what the main control room looks like from a perspective on the outside of the building, but we will certainly take a much closer look inside in just a brief moment. Just like you might remember seeing in the movie, here are the very famous yellow, green, and red lines, or colored stripes, which show you exactly which specific locations you are required to go, or simply where you are permitted to go while you are on the base. Soldier. In this particular project, I really tried my best to use very high-resolution soldiers, or rather, highly detailed people within the scene. This is exactly what the main control room looks like from the inside perspective, by the way. Let me say it once again for clarity. There was absolutely nothing at all here in this space that I already had available to me. So, to be perfectly clear, absolutely nothing was given to me beforehand. Then here, of course, we go up, and here is the general's office. So this part. I don't know, that's why I'm saying I don't really know the proportions from the movie. As I said, I put the whole thing together from pictures and from the series itself to get a rough idea of what it might look like and how the whole thing is structured. Like I said, with more or less success. I think, by the way, it didn't turn out badly. So, starting from this specific vantage point right here, this is the impressive and detailed view of the main gate itself as it stands before us. And then as we begin our descent, we carefully go down the long flight of stairs. Right here at the bottom, we encounter a dedicated agent who diligently protects the entirety of this whole place. I will take a moment to show it to you once more from a different angle, so you can see exactly what the whole thing looks like in its full context. And now, as we move forward to the next part of our journey, if you would please come along this specific path. Actually, if you look closely, this is exactly what the corridors look like in the original motion picture. This is more or less how it looks in its entirety, based on what I could carefully piece together from the film just by observing it frame by frame. So, obviously it could be done much better and more professionally, of course, if someone had designed the whole thing from scratch in Blender, but I didn't actually design it in Blender at all. Instead, I put it all together manually using Unreal Engine. And right over there, you can see the office located upstairs. This is what the whole thing looks like from this perspective. And now we're going to go through the Stargate itself to see what lies on the other side. Yes. And we've arrived here at our destination, which is, as you can clearly see, a massive and highly detailed Egyptian-themed level, which is set in a completely different world altogether, where, as you already know from our previous discussions, you can come through the wormhole, and Teal'c is already waiting for us in the background. Honestly, this is as far as I got with the presentation to show roughly what a Stargate game would look like. There's also a dialing device here, so this is basically what this little Stargate demo looks like, or I don't even know, it's really just a presentation of how the whole thing would look if, say, one person were to make it. From a single person. I don't know, you guys tell me your opinions. What do you think about the whole thing, and what do you think about all of this? Was it good or not? So, I don't know, guys. As I said, it's very important to keep in mind, really, that this is the work of just one person, the map and everything. The only thing I got, which, let me say again, you can also download from Sketchfab, so you really don't have to make the Stargate from scratch, but there are tons of Stargates on Sketchfab, but I only got that one. Everything else you see, the construction, the blueprinting, the travel system, building the base from scratch, I did all of that myself. It actually took me 5 days. Let me know your opinions, what you think about it, whether you like the whole thing, and also as a concept, how well would you receive this if it came from a bigger company? How much would you like it if a bigger company with more money and more characters did something like this, with explorable worlds through the wormhole, because I'm really curious about your opinions. So guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to give it a like, subscribe, and if you want to learn Unreal Engine, where you can create things like this and build worlds, then you can start right away by clicking on this video up here above me. Everyone, thank you very much indeed for your attention. Have a great day, everyone, and I wish you all the very best. Goodbye for now.